just absolutely decimated. But if Kirino is able to time the Shurima shuffle at the proper time and just shove out the J4, then you're going to get empty shockwaves. And I think this mid lane matchup, while it isn't the assassin matchup we wanted to see, it is going to really come down to the mid lane play.
All right, we'll see if that comes to fruition right here. Of course, the Jarvan is unstoppable during Cataclysm, so it really depends on how Holo can pull off his combos. We do have a 5-point spread just in the early game here. Looking across the map, we get some shots of the runes. Nothing too spectacular, and I do think everyone will be paying attention to how Shiromine is going to be playing this top lane against the Gnar.
Yeah, also looks like he has water walking, so perhaps they're trying to really control this top half of the map, which would be a slightly different approach than how they've typically played out these games, which have been usually mid and bot lane focused. And then for Frank Esports, I mean, Holo does have a wide variety of options when it comes to ganking these lanes. He can gank in that top lane against a Zilean if the Zilean's ever overpushed. Can also get stuck in a trap where he shoves in the wave a little bit too prematurely, because the bombs can shove the wave pretty rapidly, and you can get stuck in some weird lane positions. So Holo has a couple of options as far as where he wants to attack, and we'll see. I feel like Frank Esports, they are a composition that would like to get early advantages because of the scaling power of a Jinx, Azir, and Zilean.
All right, we'll see how they do with the bottom lane, but we do have a bit of light trading going on both sides. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Karino, welcome back to the PCS. Last time he's played was in the LSC in 2019, and it seems like Pretender is giving him a really warm welcome. Not what you expect to see early on from Orianna versus Azir, to be frank. Usually Azir wins the early push, but Pretender does change that. Both mid laners going with the Ahri, and Shiromine, meanwhile, in the top lane, missing some CS, but he is shoving the wave in, and with that water walk, I just can't wait to see some Zilean time bomb ganks. That just seems so incredibly fun to me.
Yeah, I am very keen to see how this top lane Zilean will perform. And for the side of Frank Esports, of course, like Pretender, that was a really sick trade in the mid lane, but it's kind of a matter of what he can get off of that, since both mid laners are, of course, running the Corrupting Potion, and looks like Holo is already making his way down. I don't know if this is going to be a dive opportunity, because they are kind of at tower, and early on that dive with a Rakan is incredibly difficult to pull off, even though you do have a lot of CC.
We do have to pay close attention to the HP bars here. Clay X keeping topped off and does hit level 3, which should mean the dive probably isn't going to happen for Holo. And in the meantime, they do spot out Xin Zhao on the map. Oh, no, sorry, they don't spot out, but they do ping him out on the map. And it seems like the gank is still going to come through. K2 does find Philia. The Ignite goes down. 2 more auto attacks. Blade Storm doesn't do it. So and close. Philia stays alive. Blade Caller, excuse me.
Oh, that was really, really close for the side of Frank Esports. Unfortunately, they don't get that kill, and they also expend the flash onto M&M, which is going to be key, because now Caspiel has a window of opportunity to try and swing things.
Clay X still might be the target right here, but he's one auto attack off again. SEM9 escaping their meeting with death. Once more, Caspiel does have to come down here, and Holo. Oh, Caspiel actually tried to go in for that. Holo will find the knock-up, and Caspiel might have made a mistake here. Philia, no flash here, but does survive in the end.
Oh my. SEM9 are a little bit too eager right now to tussle. I think they also are feeling a little bit of the crunch coming in, knowing that this is their best opportunity to A, get that first win, and also B, they need this win to keep their playoffs dreams alive. So perhaps feeling a little bit of the pressure here, but now, you know, you look at the summoners burn down in this bottom lane. No flash on Nautilus, no flash on Caspiel, so certainly two targets you can try and take advantage of, especially given that Pretender has shown he can get control of that mid wave.
Holo is going to get the Cataclysm with the bot lane of SEM9 being completely flashless. That is going to be massive. It's something we should pay attention to. Meanwhile, Philia trying to catch Pretender off guard, as Pretender has been pushing very deep into this mid lane. Isn't going to find a chance, and K2 will cover the flank. So far, Frank Esports just winning across all three lanes. We see the CS just piling up at this point. Eminem coming back to lane with a pretty massive buy here with the Serrated Dirk and the Tear of the Goddess already completed.
Yeah, a really big purchase for him. And is also sort of the reason why we've seen Xayah come back, is that she does have a really strong lane phase with this setup. Being able to have a lot of poke, you outrange the Jinx in the lane phase until Jinx gets a lot more levels and gets the extra range coming in from leveling up her Q. But another gank set up.
Oh, Holo isn't even going to wait for level 6. A very easy first blood right here. You can see that Philia knew he was dead, goes forward instead of backwards, embraces death as it comes over him. His screen turns gray, and so does SEM9 a lot of their hopes. That's a bot lane that's very difficult to come back from, given the lead and the itemization here.
Yeah, just the dynamic of the lane, of course. Xayah being more lane-oriented right now with the current build, and just the fact that Nautilus is a relatively unforgiving champion once you are behind. That's going to make things very difficult for the SEM9 bottom lane, and unfortunately, Philia is just that positioning, not quite it. As Kurt trying to take advantage of a low mana bar coming in from Shiromine, but unfortunately unable to really stick on there. And we can kind of see why this Zilean pick has been locked in, because even with this lane positioning and shoving out in sort of a possible gankable spot, they know, like, Frank Esports, they're spending most of their time bot side. And Kurt, he isn't just going to solo kill you out of the blue.
That's definitely true, but I still feel like just simply utility from the top laner, I'm not sure it's worth it. Like, when you think about utility or smite tops, at least they gank and roam early, but a pure utility top laner, ooh, Clayax might have some surprises for him in that brush. Has to burn the heal. Featherstorm comes down, and Clayax has to burn his flash once more.
Yeah, and very key is the EXP gap as well here. Level 6 to level 5. Both of these supports looking to make a roam over towards that Rift Herald and try and set up some sort of Rift Herald play, but down in this bottom lane, like, Eminem is just really asserting his dominance here. So SEM9 looks like they have positioning, early positioning onto this Rift Herald. It's just a matter of Frank Esports, do they want to contest, with Pretender being a little bit far from the action.
This is going to be a 4v3 that SEM9 hold an advantage over. No Narbar, and Pretender trying to rush towards the scene. Eminem, however, is going to take that opportunity to just find a solo kill in the bottom side. Easy as that. In the meantime, SEM9 do take away the Herald, but they did leave their AD carry for dead. It's just a trade that is relatively interesting. How do you see that trade going down there? What does SEM9 need to do to make it worthwhile?
Yeah, I mean, the issue with the SEM9 securing Herald here is just wondering what lane are you playing for with this Herald, because if you get all the turret plates and that first tower gold, then you essentially recoup what you've lost. But
here we go again, round 2. This is the life of AD carry. Welcome to the PCS, Clayax. He dies for the second time within 1 minute. And that trade ended up essentially being 2 kills, first tower for Herald. I think Frank Esports are very happy with that trade.
They are extremely pleased with that trade. And getting extra gold onto an Azir, while isn't that bad, like, it accelerates your mid game just a little bit, but there's really no one on their squad that just fully takes advantage of this extra gold. So it feels like Frank Esports had the correct read and said, hey, you know, yes, you guys get the Rift Herald, but it actually doesn't do a whole lot for you. And given that we're able to get equal amount of plates, or at least for now it's more plates, and in the aspect of getting 2 kills, that's also equal to about 4 plates. So you just got so much extra gold on the side of Frank Esports, and SEM9 weren't able to create any tempo off of that play of getting Herald.
That was 2,000 gold into the pockets of Frank Esports after that trade. We also had the gold graph pop up. Of course, Eminem was in the lead there. He got his first mythic item. He also bought an extra tier too at 10 minutes. So this guy is very far ahead of the curve. And you can tell SEM9 are not trying to hold on to that bot lane tower much at all. Already roaming Felia towards mid lane, trying to get something elsewhere. In the meantime, Frank Esports are doing a triple lane push at this point. They have all of their lanes covered, full river control. It just seems like SEM9 are scrambling to find somewhere to get back onto the map. Where can they really go with this composition?
And that's the hard part, right? Because you have a Jinx who isn't at all in position to hit item spikes. Felia's probably dead again.
Ooh, actually goes for the straight 1v2. No support, no problems, as Felia nearly just dies there. Eminem, not afraid, has a sustain to keep himself topped up. And meanwhile, in the top lane, we have a very similar story. Kurt going for a very early legendary item in the Hullbreaker. He's going to be dominating his lane. Finally, Caspiel is going to try to put a stop to Eminem and his happy times right here. It's a 3v1. What can Eminem do? He dodges out of the ultimate, gets a stun down, but will still fall down. Holo gets the first kill. K2 coming in to mop things up. Can they find a second? Will be a double for Holo. Pops into stasis. Probably didn't really even need that one, but wanted some time to flex the emotes.
Definitely a bit of a mistake when it comes to using that stopwatch, but I don't think he's going to face big consequences from it, because usually when you get that stopwatch, it's...
Ooh.
Oh, what a flash!
Outfakes the play, but the Sand Soldiers actually stop Carino from being sucked closer into the middle of the lane. Kind of an interesting interaction right there. In the meantime, Frank Esports continuing to march their advantage forward as they take away the Infernal, and Kurt is just having a field day in the top lane.
Yeah, so the issue with these supportive style top laners is the fact that usually you want to... Your itemization does not play very well with going up against Hullbreaker top laners. And even if this was the 12-5 version of Hullbreaker, I would say that Kurt should go Hullbreaker anyways, even on that nerf version, because of the fact that it's just a really good tool to punish these top laners that are really only offer some sort of wave clear, but don't actually offer any threat to you, and you can just really push with impunity up top side.
Push with impunity. That's something that Singapore would really like to hear these days. But I was just mentioning that one because if SEM9 do drop here, it does massively improve Impunity's chances. If they win, they're actually just out of reach of SEM9. So, you know, pivotal games for both of our LST representatives coming in. In the meantime, we have another 3-man hit squad coming in from Eminem, but he will have some help from K2. Caspiel still decides to go in, pops the Crescent Guard early. He does survive a lot of the damage. Eminem can't let the damage onto Caspiel, but is still forced away. In the meantime, Holo is going to get something on the top side for this. Shiromine, the target of this gank, gets slowed down. He still has the Chrono Shift to stay alive here, but Holo isn't going to let him walk away for that long. Gets slowed once again with the Golden Aegis. He is ticking down, and the Challenger's Smite takes him in the end.
Yeah, Shiromine taking the death there. That's going to exacerbate SEM9's issues because of the fact Kurt is going to be able to break this top tower. Also, of course, has a 40 CS lead, so he's been in a very comfortable spot. And so far, we haven't gotten to see this Zilean really get put into action because he's just been stuck in top lane, which is why, you know, we see him played in the support role, in the mid lane role, not just because of certain lane phases, but also just the fact that you're closer to the action that's going to happen on the map.
Ooh, no respect paid towards the Emperor of Shurima. Pretender once again sidesteps the ultimate and just forces him out of lane. He's not really looking for the kill, but he's happy to have a free PvE moment in the mid lane there.
And a lot of the times they aren't getting kills, but if you get an extra 2 waves of EXP and gold, you will slowly just grind out those kill equivalent advantages. So really well done from Pretender on that end. Has a 40 CS lead in the mid lane and also has that completed Luden. So usually you look at something like the Orianna Shockwave, first fight might not usually be that explosive, but now that he has the completed Ludens, there certainly is a lot of wombo potential coming in from this Cataclysm Shockwave combo.
Jarvan definitely one of the best ball holders in the game. SEM9 are setting up for a trap, but they find a trap themselves. We have K2 going into the back line.
Shockwave
Pretender,
available.
Shockwave is there. He gets 2. Caspel nearly down, but SEM9 are making a great fight of this one. Holo goes into the back line, finds Hero Mania. There's no chrono shift onto him. Caspel's chrono shift times out, and Holo with the triple kill and the target selection. Great play from Frank Esports jungler.
What a fantastic read coming in from Frank Esports on that fight. They see that the chrono shift come down just a little bit early on Caspio, and instantly they turn for the backline, knowing that there's just no escape on this Zilean pick. Already burned the flash much earlier on that play around blue buff, and Caspio, I mean, he's trying to get the chrono shift off by forcing his way onto the carries, but it's just not enough. They're able to wait it out, but we get to see the replay of this fight. Once again, the Cataclysm coming down onto ClayX. He is a Jinx that has been put behind, so he doesn't have a whole lot of options to escape in that situation. And then we get to see the early chrono shift come down onto Caspio. They instantly just turn their attention over to Shiromine, and that's the first action we've seen, or the first team fight we've seen. And so far, it looks like Frank Esports are in complete and utter control of this game.
I think that team fight was a great reason why you should not be picking Zilean in top lane. He just provides so little. He got 1 time bomb off, and a chrono shift that didn't help. So,
yeah,
I really want to know.
I can find reason if you're going to pull the Zilean to mid a lot more often, or try and roam with this champion, because he does move around the map very
quickly. In the meantime, though, I do have to stop you there with Caspio. We do have some action. I'm sorry, I got a little bit too hyphy. I thought he might be going down, but Frank Esports, respect the Zilean.
Yeah, they at least have to give some respect, but now he's gone. No respect.
There was no time to even save the jungler right there. He just... that was an interesting move by Caspiel. I feel like the concept of object permanence would probably prevent you from face checking that brush twice, but yeah, he played that very callously. You know, went in again. He died without even getting to press his R.
Yeah, he certainly was a little bit free-spirited in his approach to re-entering the jungle. And now Frank Esports at 19 minutes, they've almost got a 10k gold lead. So this is a very oppressive lead, also given the fact that you have Cloud Soul on the table. It's just a whole lot of movement speed, and also importantly, the slow resistance is really nice against a champion like Zilean, who predicates a lot of his power on being able to play around move speed manipulation.
Definitely has been the case here. At least now the Zillion is moving with the rest of the team, so there could be some fun combos that we could see. You can put your time bombs on your allies, try to get stuns that way. So let's just see if Shiromine has some other tricks up his sleeve that we haven't been privy to just yet. In the meantime, K2, even though they're only traveling as a two-man, they're willing to go super aggressive, and for good reason there, as Eminem takes half HP off of Felia with a simple clean daggers, double daggers exchange right there. Meanwhile, Kurt in the bot lane, completely unopposed. He does have that wit's end completed and the hull breaker. He doesn't really fear these mages. There is no opposition in his way, and Holo gets to drop a super deep Herald just 20 minutes into the game. Let's see if this big push from Frank Esports. Caspiel nearly taken down to 0 HP. The Chrono Shift will come in handy. K2 knocks everyone up again, but Holo went too deep. That's going to be a massive shutdown. And in the meantime, Eminem does find 2 kills. So it will be a 2-for-1, but without the Herald, without Holo, SEM9 hold on.
Yeah, and I mean, at the very least, SEM9 do get to hold on to the rest of their base. It doesn't get penetrated in that regard, but red buff from ClayX does get the slow, but it's not going to be enough. Interestingly enough, we do see, of course, the wit's end approach coming in from Kurt, but oh my god, Eminem is just he's an absolute unit.
We were talking about red buffs. Eminem was like, oh, thanks for holding my red buff for me. That was very nice of you. And he promptly just, I think that was a 3-shot. Auto attack, Q, auto attack. I think maybe Blade Collar was used there, but still.
Yeah, the burst damage on this champion is nuts, especially, of course, with the lethality. And I don't know about that one, Felia.
You tried.
He wanted that ward really, really fast. Caspiel is also not in for a good time. And all in all, SEM9 are in not a fun time. Even against a no mythic Gnar. Because he could just go wit's end against these solo laners and just say, yeah, whatever. You don't have the damage to deal with me.
Super Mega Death Rocket. A little bit too early, doesn't find anything. I wholeheartedly agree with you on the wit's end points and everything that has happened so far. I'm just in a little bit of a... I think I'm in shock by how free Frank Esports has been able to play this game. They have thrown trigger discipline to the wind. They know they can just fire away their ultimates, completely disregarding their cooldowns. They don't really care at this point, and they can kill anyone. So it just feels like...
Yeah. And the big thing is, like, they can dump a lot of cooldowns on just trying to kill Caspiel, because if they secure that kill onto Caspiel, what can SEM9 do? Because then your front line is just a Nautilus, and Nautilus at level 9, 23 minutes into the game, that's really just nothing. He is just completely paper, so he's not real frontline in that regard, and you're very comfortable just, again, just pushing like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, we could be seeing the final push develop here from Frank. They are pushing into the base at 2 different
three lanes.
Oh, yeah, make that 3 as Pretender. He does decide to group with the rest of the team. Both inhibitors going down without a fight from SEM9. They're trying to goad Frank Esports into the Nexus Towers. This is where they can make their strongest stand. I'm looking for the Emperor's Divide, potentially from Carino. Can they find a chance to execute? They dodge out on Pretender. Shockwave Philia goes in, but doesn't find a target.
It's paper.
For Eminem is trying to get taken down here. He goes low, but stays alive in the end. Carino has to use the Emperor's Divide in a defensive fashion. Caspiel is down. The Nexus Towers are next to fall, and we still have a teleport from Kurt potentially if he wants to continue this fight. Emote flash from Frank Esports, but they're not going to go for the risky play. Carino with the substitute tower, the Sun Disc, keeps the Nexus intact.
Regardless, it's a 15k gold lead for the side Frank Esports. They're in a very domineering position, so this game feels like it's only a matter of time for them to close out, as they will be able to fall back and get themselves a Cloud Soul as well at 25 minutes. It's relatively early. They've delayed it to a certain degree, but Cloud Soul also means that they can move around the map incredibly quickly and just try and catch people out. It makes Kurt incredibly hard to lock down, especially now that he does have a Mythic completed, and it is the Triforce. So much damage on this Gnar. It is something we've wanted to see from Kurt, just play more individualistic, because it feels like his rotational and team play is relatively on point, but sometimes even if he wants to play for the team, because he falls so far behind in lane, it's not very effective. But here, I mean, it's just not even close.
Yeah, Eminem able to side split that top lane without any regard for Felia's feelings, and we have a two-man Shockwave nearly decimating the front line from SEM9. Caspiel manages to stay alive with the Crescent Guard, but not for long. The Nexus is exposed, and that's a massive three-man knockback from Kurt. They're not only going to take the Nexus, they're going to get the ace as well. 22-3, Rank Esports make short work of SEM9.